confidence, which have contributed to the electoral setback of 2024. It is within this context that the National Executive Committee considered the implications of the SACP's resolution to contest elections independently, a position adopted at its 2022 National Congress and reaffirmed in 2024. The ANC has, over an extended period, engaged the SACP within the alliance and in bilateral discussions, together with other alliance partners, in an effort to preserve unity and avoid fragmentation of progressive forces. However, these engagements did not yield consensus, and the SACP has proceeded with its preparations to contest elections, including participation in by-elections, a decision we respect. The NEC noted with concern that this development risks fragmenting the motive forces of the revolution, weakening the alliance and undermining the broader transformation agenda at a time when the democratic movement faces both internal weaknesses and coordinated external pressures. Experience from recent by-elections confirms that independent contestation introduces direct political competition with the ANC, creating confusion among supporters and divisions within communities. The NEC then took a special decision. At the center of its deliberations, the Special National Executive Committee took a firm and unambiguous decision to provide organizational clarity, discipline, and strategic direction ahead of the 2026 local government elections. We have communicated our decision to all the 54 regions of the African National Congress. We have communicated physically, not by Zoom meeting, our decision to all structures of the organization throughout the country in the past week. We have met in a bilateral and informed the Communist Party of our decision. We have met with the Congress of South African Trade Unions in a physical meeting, not Zoom. We have met with Sanco as well in a physical meeting, not Zoom. The SACP delegation was led by Solima Paila, the General Secretary of the Communist Party. The ANC delegation was led by the Secretary General and all other officials who were present to inform them about our decision of the National Executive Committee as mandated by the General Council to give direction with regard to what is going to be done by the organization and the movement as a whole with regard to the NEC decision. The NEC reaffirmed that the ANC Constitution explicitly recognizes dual membership with the Alliance, including membership of the SACP, and that members who hold such affiliation enjoy full rights and are subject to the same duties as all ANC members. The NEC reaffirmed, I wish to repeat, that the ANC Constitution explicitly recognizes dual membership within the Alliance, including members of the SACP, and that members who hold such affiliation enjoy full rights and are subject to the same duties as ANC members. This principle must be upheld without discrimination or selective application, as unity, discipline, and organizational cohesion remains central to the strength of the movement. At the same time, the NEC reaffirmed that the ANC constitution is explicit in regulating conduct during elections, providing that no member may stand for election, campaign, or canvass in opposition to a candidate endorsed by the ANC. This provision applies without exception and constitutes a binding organizational rule that ensures coherence and discipline in the electoral arena. In line with this constitutional framework, the National Executive Committee has reaffirmed that all members of the ANC are obliged to campaign for the ANC and its candidates in all elections. This obligation is binding on all members, including those who hold dual membership with the SACP. The NEC therefore clarified that the decision by the SACP to contest elections independently carries clear organizational consequences. This includes that SACP will not participate in ANC election structures, processes, campaign activities, or candidate lists, and that all ANC members are required to act in full compliance with the Constitution. To ensure clarity, consistency, and discipline across the movement, the NEC has directed that all ANC members, including those serving in leadership structures and public office, must declare whether they will campaign for the ANC or any other political formation. Failure to do so will be interpreted as a commitment to campaign for the ANC in accordance with oath of membership. Any conduct that undermines the ANC's electoral campaign will attract immediate organizational action to safeguard the integrity and cohesion of the movement. The Secretary General has been mandated to communicate this position as a directive to all structures and members of the organization, ensuring full organizational alignment as the ANC prepares for the upcoming electoral cycle. As we speak to you today, the date is what? 23rd. It's the 23rd, it's on Thursday, past 1. That letter is out to all members of the ANC. A communique has been written to the Communist Party, to COSATU and SANCO following on our bilateral engagements. We have written to all our provinces following our engagements on this particular matter. This communique is out to all our structures in relation to this decision. This decision is effective as of today. It will be reviewed after 10 days from now. The instruction is that this decision will be monitored from branch executive, regional executive, provincial executive. Members are required within these 10 days from today. They will be reminded again to report to the secretaries at the branch level about their intention. Should you decide to ignore this communication and you are found to be campaigning for any other political party outside the ANC, we will take steps to safeguard the constitution of the ANC. If you are in the executive, at local government, or serving in any position of influence, including deployment, we will take steps, including removal from those particular positions with immediate effect. Removal means recalled, because you will be doing activities that are not consistent with the ANC. Political context. The NEC located this decision within the broader strategic terrain facing the movement. The fragmentation of progressive forces, combined with the proliferation of political parties and intensified anti-transformation narrative, poses a real risk of further weakening the democratic movement below its current electoral pace. The 2026 local government elections are therefore a critical moment to defend and consolidate the gains of democracy, rebuild public confidence, and reassert the leadership of the ANC among the people. The movement calls on all its members to remain focused on improving service delivery, accelerating economic transformation, engaging communities directly, and mobilizing voters across the country. Commitment to the alliance. Despite the current challenges, the ANC reaffirms its unwavering commitment to the Revolutionary Alliance as the most effective vehicle to advance the interests of the South African people and the objectives of the National Democratic Revolution. The African National Congress emphasizes that the alliance is a product of a shared history of struggle, forged in the trenches and crucible of revolution, consolidated through decades of joint programmatic engagement in pursuit of the National Democratic Revolution. It is an alliance shaped by a common revolutionary program, grounded in shared outlook, informed by Marxist-Leninist tools of analysis of race, class, and gender. This revolution has been sustained by generations of leaders, from President Gumede, Xuma, Yusuf Dadoo, Albert Luthuli, Moses Kotane, Oliver Tambo, Moses Mabhida, Nelson Mandela, Joe Slovo, Ruth First, Chris Hani, Thabo Mbeki, and Charles Ngakula, who understood that the unity of the motive forces of the revolution is indispensable to the advance towards a united, non-racial, non-sexist, democratic, and prosperous society. The ANC remains in alliance with the SACP, the Congress of South African Trade Unions, and the South African National Civic Organization, each an independent organization with its own constitution, membership, and programs. This alliance is founded on a common commitment to the objectives of the National Democratic Revolution, to resolve the interrelated contradictions of national oppression, class exploitation, and gender inequality, and the strategic imperative to unite the broadest possible cross-section of South Africans, particularly the motive forces behind the program of radical socio-economic transformation and the building of a national democratic society. The alliance is experiencing a difficult moment, but its renewal and reconfiguration remain central to the long-term project of building a united, non-racial, non-sexist, democratic, and prosperous South Africa. The ANC respects the decision of the SACP to contest elections for reasons they have advanced. We are not here to question that decision, because the Communist Party, to us, we are in alliance with them. They are a political party, a vanguard of the working class. They fight a struggle to destroy capitalism. We are not in that struggle to destroy capitalism nor to fight for socialism. We are a multi-class organization as the African National Congress. We are a multi-ideological organization. And therefore, what binds us together is the commitment to the National Democratic Revolution. If a political party decides to contest on its own and is not persuaded by the subjective and objective material conditions that such a decision will be detrimental to our alliance and weaken us further, the ANC cannot do anything about that. Our stance in terms of this decision is not inimical to the Communist Party. That is why we are not going to call Communist Party an enemy of the revolution, and many names that were being called by the SACP General Secretary, that were stooges of capital, were everything else that you can think about. But we have said in our bilateral, we must desist from such. If the Communist Party says we want to contest because for the following reasons, we accept we have failed. It's not a question of options. What was the first and the second option? The fundamental question is that you've got one option on the table. The party is contesting. And the ANC then deals with the practicality of that decision. And we expect, even in the communique to our members, to act in a disciplined fashion. No communist shall be haunted in the ANC. And anyone who does so will face consequences equally. Communists are part and parcel of the African National Congress. But in the election campaign, which we are now getting into uncharted waters, you can't serve two bosses. It's a practical example. You can't stand for the Communist Party and stand for the ANC. You must make a choice. And that is why we have written to members to say, you must choose. If you choose the ANC, it's fine. You will get into the ANC campaign. But you can't be in the SACP campaign and the ANC campaign at the same time. Maybe after the elections, we'll share the spoils and we'll look at the board and say, oh, the Communist Party decision assisted the forces of revolution or it weakened them. Because everything practical we have said that this decision will be detrimental, it has not been listened to. We have just been told we are neoliberal, we are everything. Slogans, insurrectionary phrase mongering do not determine what must happen to the state of the revolution. Reconfiguration, we have agreed it should be done. The fact that those who were negotiating reconfiguration agreed and never processed it in the NEC, we have accepted that. And we said we are prepared to reconfigure the alliance. Let's discuss that. Boom, come the decision about now contesting independently. We've got to deal with that. Communist Party members in the ANC are not our enemies. And they will not be treated as enemies. And they will not, even our worst opponents, we have never characterized them in our strategy and tactics as enemies or counter-revolution. We have characterized properly in the strategy and tactics of the ANC what is the enemy, what is counter-revolution, what is an opponent. As it stands, we characterize our opponents as strategic opponents. We look at the DA, we look at EFF, we look at Mafiki Zolo and everybody and so on. And then these are our opponents. And some come from our womb. And that is what we have said. So Communist Party can't be our enemy. They've taken a decision. They think they are right about it. It's fine. We respect it. You will never hear from us about it anymore. We are directing our structures now on the ground. And we have never characterized this as the end of the alliance and dual membership. We've got no such mandate. Only our conference can take a decision that get out of the alliance. There's no such a decision. Our constitution is informed by our strategy and tactics. So the alliance is not an individual decision. When you decide to contest, you don't apply what are the risks that are involved. And when you see the risks, you want to blame it on others. This is not a fight back. We won't call a conference, a press conference, and give you documents that you have written against the ANC. We give you documents against the enemy that is attacking this revolution. Not spending time writing papers against the ANC. We have been there before. Okay? Characterizing what is happening in the alliance as ultra-left infiltration. We have been there. It never assisted. Now, This moment of the party contesting on its own required the National Executive Committee to apply itself and to say practically how do we process this? Because you are risking what must happen on the ground. So we needed uniformity. There is uniformity. What guides us when we are faced with moments like this is the ANC Constitution. It's the ANC Constitution. We don't expect Communist Party members and members of the ANC to work against the Communist Party on the ground. And we are not going to force communists out of the ANC. That is a choice, but you can't work for two. If I'm a minister, it so happened in the past that we have this dualism, including deployment and all of that. You can't be in the platforms of the Communist Party campaigning for them and the ANC and expect that it's normal. It's not normal. So ANC, that is why it asks its members who are loyal, communist, among others, to declare not their loyalty, who they will be working for. It's a practical question. In this election, Comrade SG, I'm not rejecting the membership of the ANC. I'm still a member of the ANC. But in this election, I will work for the Communist Party. Please recuse me from all PET meetings and election meetings. This is the letter I'm writing now as a communist. Recuse me. Because this time around, I'll just be focused on the party. I will not work for you as you would have expected. Neither am I an enemy of the revolution or against. I've just chosen that my energies will be spent on the Communist Party campaign. Full stop, yours in struggle. Comrades, the special NEC decision marks a moment of organizational clarity, unity of purpose and strategic discipline. The ANC will approach the 2026 local government elections focused, united and determined to defend, consolidate and advance the gains of freedom. All ANC members are called upon to remain disciplined, rooted among the people, and committed to ensuring that the movement continues to serve as the primary agent of transformation and trusted vehicle for a better life for all. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, SG. I will at this point invite you colleagues to fire questions to us. Shall I start to the right? Okay, over there. Tanda?
Outline, like you said, people could be removing their positions. Is expulsion one of the options that could be
a result of people not coming out to say what's happening? And then, as you know, we're coming from an SACP presser at Kosato House. A lot was said, but one of the things that the General Secretary said that the SACP and the ANC have not met to discuss the election outcome. Is this true? And if so, why have you not unpacked, dissected what happened in the elections? Thank you.
Thank you. Mawanda?
Good afternoon, colleagues and leadership in front. My name is Mawanda. I work for the Sunday World. Probably to add to Semtanda's last question of, we are told by Mr. Mapaira that we have not met to discuss, but also further to that, they generally complain that the stance of the current ANC-NEC against the SACP has been one that is abhorrent, that when meetings are scheduled of any kind, they never happen. They point out, in fact, to say the past two NECs have not had an alliance summit total. They said the last ANC alliance summit that was held was in 2015, which they say to them shows the level of unseriousness with which the ANC takes the SACP, because they say that it is the ANC that organizes these events, and sometimes some of these meetings are organized and don't happen at last minute because of the ANC. But also, SG, secondly, how many ANC members, just to understand the scale of the problems problem we're dealing with, how many ANC members are dual members with the SACP? Have you done such an analysis? Do you have a clue about the magnitude of the crisis that you are dealing with? And also, Mr. Mapaila raises, as you were pointing out, the documents that were given there, is one, it speaks about a common electoral approach that, again, Mr. Mapaila says the ANC rejected. Did you reject this proposal of a common electoral approach wherein the ANC and SACP would work together while also contesting the elections independent? And what were the reasons for rejection thereof of this proposal? And also, finally, Mr. Mbalula, are you attending as the ANC? Well, when I say you, is the ANC attending the Conference of the Left that is happening end of May, organized by the SACP? We are told that they invited you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Sunday Wells. Yes, please proceed.
My name is Norman Masungwini from City Press. Maybe to follow up on my colleagues' questions. In your engagement with the alliance partners, including the SACP, SANCO, and COSATU, have you asked SANCO and COSATU where their allegiance would be so that you can deploy them accordingly or working with them? What kind of message do you get from them when it comes to working with the ANC and also strengthening the alliances, looking at what could possibly be the breakaway from the alliance since this election, now that you are saying that from now on the SACP will be excluded from the election meetings and stuff like that? As far as the 10 days deadline that you have given members to declare, so far, are there people who have already raised their hands? Have they indicated that they are working with you before the deadline date, that you can start planning ahead? Do you know how many people have done that? Maybe at the national level, we know that there are many people who have been deployed there in Parliament and Cabinet from who are holding dual membership. The last question, probably, I know you've just touched on it. Specifically, I'm looking for this word where you'll say, since you will be excluding the SACP from all these election campaigns, the meetings and strategic planning, are you looking at the SACP specifically to classify them as an opponent, not as as an enemy? So just to say you are an opposition, you will be treated as such, just equal as the EFF and MK party, and just to say you are an opposition, therefore we're not going to share information with you and stuff like that. Thank you.
Thank you, City Press. Please pass on the mic.
Good afternoon, SG, and to the rest of the leadership. Breiten here from Netwerk 24. My first question is around what is the reputational risk for the ANC should things sour to a level with the SACP that there's no more home for the communists in the ANC? What's the reputational risk of that? That would be my first question. And then also, SG, maybe just your thoughts on a relationship between the SACP, the EFF, and the MK party. Maybe just your thoughts on that. Because it seems like that might be the warmer option for the SACP at the moment. And then just to maybe add to my colleagues' questions, the words you are using, SG, it doesn't seem like words you use with a friend. Words like ultimatum, words like there's a deadline. These are very harsh words to use with a friend. is the SACP still a friend of the ANC? Please be honest with us, SG. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. There is a colleague there. Yes, proceed.
Oh, afternoon.
Are you not meant to? It was for you. Okay, thank you.
Okay, I'm Silver Sphere from UFM. With this escalation, with these escalations, tensions between the SACP and the ANC, what will you say to those who believe this is the beginning of the end? Some saying that a lot of relationships start ending like this. Thank you.
Thank you. I now move to the left. Where shall I start?
Good afternoon.
I've recognized, my sister over there.
Thank you so much, Bikanyo, MGN TV. SG has just acknowledged in his statement that there was never a reconfiguration. Is there any room in future that you can reconfigure the alliance? Thank you.
Good afternoon, Shannon Merrickska, CBC Africa, a member in good standing of the Press Council of South Africa. SG, you're wearing a nice suit. There's a saying on the streets. I'm just saying.
I was a minister, so I've got many suits.
Okay, you're wearing a nice suit, but there's a word on the street. They say one must die. Are we at the memorial service of the ANC or the SSCP? Because it looks like, like husband and wife, the divorce is going to happen. SSCP is saying Andazi for elections. ANC is saying, okay, in terms of our constitution, we are right. And I agree you are right. The ANC didn't change its constitution regarding local elections for the last 30 years. So it's not something new you're coming with. But however, when a divorce takes place, even the neighbors, some don't wish a divorce should take place. Now then the children suffer. You give the children 10 days. The lawyers will ask you, is it 10 working days or 10 normal days, right? The second part, now the child that they're in Shawela, that's a member of SCCP and ANC Youth League and Sanko. Now tonight have to sit with burn the candle and say, what do I do now? The Madlozis must answer. Do you think it's fair to your members, to SCCP members, to COSATU members, to all your alliance members? Thank you.
Thank you, Shannon. I've got a hand right there at the back.
Zinobo Mhlaba from Newsroom Africa. What I'm picking up, Mr. Mbalula, is that both sides seem to be very firm on their position. The SACP is saying it's not leaving, or it's not going to stop being members. They are not going to stop their structures, their members to be members of the ANC. They are even saying that they're encouraging them to remain in the ANC. But now you are saying, or the NEC of the ANC is saying that if you campaign against any candidate of the ANC, you are basically subjecting yourself to disciplinary actions of the ANC. So what now these situations to me look like, it's as if at some point you will have members who will be violating the values of the ANC NEC. Are you open, or are you considering the fact that at some point there will be a breakdown of relations, whether through constitutional technicalities or not? So my question basically is, how far is the ANC willing to remain with its position, considering that the SACP is also remaining with its own position? Does this mean the ANC and the SACP are headed for divorce? And is the ANC willing to go to that extent of calling it quits with the SACP if SACP members remain or continue violating the ANC constitution values?
Thank you very much. Is there anybody here? We can take the second round. Or should we complete here? Pardon? No, can we address you? Can we take a second round? Okay. Okay, please go ahead, my sister.
Hi, I'm Naledi Mashishi from the Daily Maverick. So, obviously, in the last local government elections, I mean, the ANC's share of the votes has been declining. And in the last local government elections, the ANC achieved around 45% of the votes. Are you not concerned that issuing this ultimatum could end up alienating your dual members and risk lowering the support that the ANC has even further?
All right. Thank you very much. I will now ask both the SG and the DSG. If you may start, DSG.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon, SG, and good afternoon, members in good standing from the Fourth Estate. And thanks for the questions. Of course, the issues that have been raised, amongst others, from Siamtanda, the issues of possibilities of expulsion and stuff. Remember, there's a code of conduct for members of the ANC, and there will be those processes within the organization. And just like any other member, those who then transgress the constitution of the ANC would have to subject themselves to that due process. It is factually incorrect for the South African Communist Party to brief members of the media and say we have never come together to reflect on the elections. Post the closure of the counting and the announcement of the results, we convened a national elections team. We met here in Luthuli House. The South African Communist Party was present. I was chairing the meeting. I was chairing the meeting. We then went to meet further with the officials of the ANC before we went to meet with the National Working Committee. And in that, post the NEC, there was communication with the party where the party came back to the NEC and say, go and do everything to protect state power. We were part, the SG was the facilitator of those meetings. It is factually incorrect. The issue of what has been raised by Newsroom about possibilities of a breakdown as well as the problems that have to do with the party contesting. We're no longer talking about what is going to happen. In Limpopo, in Seshego, the South African Communist Party physically in person contested on site where the ANC was also contesting in the by-elections in the ward that belongs to the EFF, led by the EFF. And the South African Communist Party was physically contesting, even protesting against the executive mayor of Polokwane. This is what we need to be looking at. It's not new things and what is going to happen. In Tanon, it was the party that was campaigning against a candidate who came through Sanko to be a candidate of the ANC. And the campaign of the party was championed by a member of the legislature deployed by the ANC, who's the district secretary of the party, who never raised in many of the campaigns anything about the DA in Talaoma, but the campaign was against the candidate of the ANC. Therefore, what we need to appreciate is that it's no longer even an issue about the coming elections. We have had the Metsimahulu experience, but of now late since Congress resolution of the party, The party had already moved in many other areas, including one by-election in the Eastern Cape. So there is no confusion. All that the ANC is saying, it will be incorrect for us not to protect our constitution and our right to contest by us not allowing members of the ANC the space to contest without being confused, because we must also think about members of the ANC who may be confused. Seeing the red caravan at 6 and seeing the black, green and gold truck at 4 in the afternoon. You can't be in both. Because remember, you are fishing in the same pond. You are canvassing in the same space. And all that the ANC is doing is responding to the resolution of the party that we all actually respect. No one must die. You're saying who must? No one must die. We must all live long beyond the elections. So that then we are able to look at what has happened for the first time in our own period of leading, both in the South African Communist Party and in the African National Congress. We have agreed that we'll meet post-elections. But any other work that has to be done, we should continue to work. And we agreed in the last meeting with the South African Communist Party leadership, led by the GS of the party, that all other matters, we must continue to deal with them and process them as the organization. The party has informed us about the conference, and the ANC would be considering their invitation. We have met, as the SG has indicated, with COSATU and SANCO. We know that COSATU has affirmed that they've got a Congress resolution. They've allowed their own affiliates to go and discuss and deliberate on the matter, subject to their coming Congress. And of course, the ANC will continue to engage both with affiliates as well as with COSATU itself. As the SG has said, we have also met with SANCO, not by Zoom, here in Lutuli, and continuous engagements are actually going ahead. What we must also appreciate is that when you contest, you don't have a partner who contests you. You have an opponent who opposes your winning an election. And in this instance, on elections, we are two opposing poles. What we have urged and agreed upon in our last meeting was that it must not be antagonistic. It must be about what you stand for and what we stand for, because we will need each other beyond the elections. Our responsibility is beyond the electoral fortunes of 2026. No summits, whatever. There's been a lot of work that has been done. We have had the economic summit. We have had the local government roll call. We have had various other meetings that we look at on issues. Of course, some of the matters that are now an issue about us having not dealt with them, like the issue of the reconfiguration, it's because of the previous National Executive Committee. But as we speak now, there are areas that there are working groups of the alliance looking at the modalities of a reconfigured alliance. And all sides in the alliance have agreed that there is now motion in dealing with these issues. All structures of the various alliance partners are looking at them. Our last NGC reflected on that. The policy conference will also deal with that. What the ANC will refuse to do, to say and accept, is accusations about things not having happened because of the ANC. That is factually incorrect. And the last issue that I want to raise is that there is, for local government, there can't be any other formula, because your ward candidate, the outcome in terms of the numbers that the ward candidate gets, also contributes in terms of the number of seats, including the outcome in terms of voter turnout in a ward. And therefore, if we are now going to say one must contest a ward, the other on the PR, or there must be any municipality that we do not contest, so far the policy of the ANC is that we contest wall to wall. Just as it is a Congress resolution of the party, it is a policy of the ANC that going into local government, we contest wall to wall, even where we do not have branches. The ANC contests, because proportional representation, whether it's 2 votes, it's 3 votes, are very crucial. So you can't leave any space. It is again a misunderstanding and a misinformation that is being pushed. Any South African who has been occupied about the allocation of seats in local government will understand. Voter turnout is the determining factor. Look at Gauteng in Johannesburg. We have won many of the wards. We ran many, over 90%. But because of the low voter turnout, we have found ourselves not to be the ones who are leading. Across the country, the ANC is leading in terms of the leadership, in terms of the number of ward councillors we have. The challenge is on voter turnout. And that's exactly what we are dealing with, responding to what makes voters not to come out in their numbers. That is what is the challenge going into the coming local government elections. And hence, this year we've said it's the year of decisive action to fix local government and transform the economy, and hence the roll call, and hence what we presented before you a few days ago, what will be unfolding over this weekend here in Gauteng, ANC dealing with service delivery and intervention in a visible way. It is that we are doing. What is unfortunate is when there is mudslinging, accusations and counter-accusations. And it is concerning when it comes from leaders, when it is as yet to be tested at the local level. We are, as the ANC, again saying our focus is on voter turnout, is on our message, is on setting our own election structures in place, and any other thing we refuse to be invited, even when people are saying we're captured by the neoliberal people, even when people are saying our strategies, our policies are informed by foreign ideas and stuff. What is of importance? You've been invited to the NGC, were you not? We even gave you drinks and food and everything. You were there. So you had fun there. We were busy working full 4 days of the National General Council. We were in an election strategy workshop. We were there when we had that 3-day economic NEC meeting last year. You know, we sat for the first time over 3 days dealing with issues of the economy. So to actually assume and cast aspersions on the African National Congress, who many of the leaders of the South African Communist Party, by the way, are active members thereof and leaders, is actually unfortunate. We now have to go and register voters. We now have to go and deal with the delimitation of wards. We now have to go and select candidates. And most importantly, we must go and fix local government and win elections.
Thank you very much for the questions. And thank you for the compliment for my suit. It's unfortunate that it's the first time you see me with a suit. There are many, actually, these suits. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Expulsion, News 24, of one of the options. We hope we don't get there, because this is a simple decision. As much as the SACP tries to turn heat into it, which we believe it's unfortunate, the reality of the matter is that we're dealing with a practical situation. That you campaign on the ticket of the Communist Party and then on the ticket of the ANC. It can't happen like before, because one have taken a choice to actually compete in the election. Obviously, that competition can be explained that no, it's not to the detriment of the ANC or the NDR or the struggle for transformation is for our own cause as the party, because we believe in socialism, we believe in doing things differently, and therefore that will be explained maybe and everywhere. And uncorruptible individuals we have heard, and we're still having in our ranks, and they are loyal members of the ANC. And some of them look at this decision differently, and all of that. So we believe we will not get there, because this is not inimical. Inimical, it means it's not like treating each other like we are in a war zone, we are fighting. Of course, this decision is bound to produce opportunists. It's bound. Among others, the risk the Communist Party must consider. Those people who don't make it in the ANC list will jump to the Communist Party and want to be on their list. Maybe Communist Party will reject opportunists and everything else and say, no, we want pure people, good people, but these ones, we will not take them into our list, or they will go to them. And then that is it. And maybe the Communist Party post the elections will produce in the scoreboard good results or bad. Let's not judge things on the basis of by-elections, but from how our relations have evolved with the party. We have never looked at the Communist Party as a party that brings numbers into the ANC. We have looked at the party that is the party that perfects training, raising consciousness of ANC cadreship and instilling discipline. And Communist Party cadres were the first on the ball. They were distinct in relation to their deeds and their behavior. You didn't need to see that this person is a communist. You'll see them with their deeds. Even the way they understand the terrain of struggle and all of that, they will be different. They grasp quickly. They understand why we are here, why we've got to succeed in working for the people and all of that. But you can say something different over the years, because that has been waning away in terms of the party, the same as the ANC have confronted the value system being eroded. The Communist Party have also suffered ideological erosion within its ranks. We no longer have a communist you can think of, and the ones that I've just described now in the present moment. And the ANC is no exception to that. And that is why we embark on the renewal. We embark on the foundational course to revive and instill and inspire to our cadreship value system, theoretically and otherwise, to understand what is this vehicle that they are in, that they are leading, called the African National Congress. That's why we don't regard ourselves as politicians, because ours is about changing situations and the country for the better. A politician is that person you meet with a jacket and a suit in parliament every day. And a politician is somebody who goes through a CV in a political party and be interviewed and be accepted because he studied political science. I didn't join the struggle because I'm persuaded by any other thing, but I'm persuaded by the material conditions of our people. And what made me to come to the front and be brave and to fight is because I wanted to change this situation for the better. And that is what it is. It's a difference between an ordinary politicians who come through because it's a career. We know that this thing is not a career. At the same time, you can decide tomorrow that, no, I'm no longer in there. But the politician is somebody who maneuvers, who changes 10 political parties per annum. That's a politician. I can't adapt in another political party, ndingagula, outside the ANC, because what will I do there? You know, this thing is in the veins, it's in the blood. The fact that many of such are fading away in our ranks, and that is why we seek to bring it back with political education and all of that. So we don't believe that, Siamtanda, that we will get to a position where anyone must be expelled. Like the letter I've just written now. It says, Comrade SG, thank you for the letter and the deadline. I wish to assure you that I'm a loyal member of the ANC. But because the Communist Party, the structure I lead, have taken a decision to contest in this election, I wish to exert my energy and experience in that field. In this election, I will not be with you, but I'm with you in spirit. Long live yours in struggle, Comrade Fikile Mbalula. And that is it. The ANC must accept that. I must not be accused tomorrow when I'm seen in a red caravan and I'm expected at the same time to be this side. It's not going to be practical. Why is there a fight about that? It's a question of how do we relate with the issue of people contesting and so on. I happen to be an MEC in the platform of the ANC. I wish to make you aware that as much as I'm MEC, I will be campaigning for the Communist Party. Period. And then that is it. And then we have written to the organization, then the organization will process that. Don't expect Nomvula in this election. He has written to us, here is the letter. You cannot deal with the question of the Communist Party as though you are dealing with slippers, because we are interwoven and we are not going to be chasing each other and sniffing communists in our ranks. No, it's a waste of time. The fact of the matter, we are in the field, we are campaigning to win, and that is it. Let the Communist Party do what it says it wishes to do with its decision to campaign, and then we'll see. But we don't think it will serve us good. We have not met to discuss elections outcomes. We have met on several occasions and discussed the elections outcome with the Communist Party and evaluated the elections. And even when we embarked on the path of the GNU, we did brief the party. It came later to us that the party says no, something else. And I don't want to get into that. I was at the Central Committee of the Communist Party. I went with David Makura and together with Zuko Kodlimpi, and I was briefing the party on the negotiations. The only thing that happened there is that when negotiations were proceeding, we couldn't convene like regularly because it was too fast and the days were numbered and the president had to be elected and all things had to happen in the speed of a dial, and others were in court challenging the outcome of the election. So we couldn't wait for those people. We had to move. But we moved under the clear understanding that we are one with the party going forward. On the Sunday World, no summit meetings. Look, you don't decide to contest elections because summit meetings and meetings don't take place and all of that. And on the basis of the conglomeration of that, you take a big decision, strategic nature. And then when people ask you, say, no, we are not meeting. That's the problem. And we have never had a summit. You don't do that. The conference would have applied itself when it took a decision strategically why the Communist Party must stand. The Communist Party did not decide to stand because it wanted to oppose the ANC. And that's what it must be explained. But if they say, no, we decided to stand because we don't have meetings, you can't take a strategic decision because that thing of not meetings happening or not happening will be rectified. And what then happens? Will you review your decision of standing? No, that's not the issue. So if you throw many things and not explain the strategic decision for society to understand, they will think that the Communist Party is gone, is fighting the ANC, and yet their decision is not about fighting the ANC. That's what they said to us. How many members are there? We don't know. There are many. I mean, maybe here I'm sitting next to a communist and this side. So, yeah, exactly. So there will be many communists in the ANC. The Communist Party raised the issue of common electoral approach. We said to them, we're open to that. Now I hear the General Secretary says, no, we reject it. We were in a meeting last week. We were in a meeting last week. I was summarizing the discussion. I said we are open to that. This is uncharted waters. Let's agree how we are going to process this common approach in terms of, because we are contesting. So in the process, how are we going to manage this? You know, and therefore, then today you say we rejected. I don't remember ANC rejecting any position. And even a dispute or whatever, saying we have rejected the issue of the party standing on its own. We have rejected that position. We have persuaded them about that position and its dangers. We have even produced a pamphlet. We analyzed that thoroughly. And you must look at the NEC bulletin. We also explain the background to this. We are pained by this decision of the party, but there's nothing we can do. We've got to soldier on. But at the same time, we can't give a message that to society that the Communist Party contesting it means an end of our struggle for transformation. No. It could be beneficial or it could be detrimental. And we have warned against the dangers of that. We have explained ourselves on that point. Are we attending the conference? No, the NEC will pronounce on that. The conference of the left, we have been invited. The National Executive Committee will sit and will make a determination. We are reflecting on that. We have written to the Communist Party. We have said to them, we are reflecting. We can't just jump into a conference of the left. We need a thorough understanding of what does it want to achieve, what is it all about, who are the forces of this left conference that will be there. And maybe we decide that we attend. But first and foremost, the task of a revolutionary party is to reflect politically on the matter like that. And maybe we'll invite the Communist Party to come and brief us about the conference of the left. We'll invite them to come and brief us about the conference of the left, what it seeks to achieve, and what is it all about, and so on. And then on the basis of that, we then make up our mind, because we are committed to the alliance. To us, there is nothing left more than the current left, and so on. But for tactical reasons, in a parliamentary legislature arrangement democracy, there are other options that they might be looking at, that they think they try to galvanize the people that they characterize as the left. And we will be happy to listen to the party about that. If we ask COSATU where their allegiance stand, to us it's not about asking parties their allegiance. We are all committed to the NDR. We are dealing with not even a fallout, a stance of the party to stand in the election. So the alliance is not broken. The Communist Party, COSATU, they are still part of the alliance, and SANCO. And I assume the Communist Party will go to the shop floor and continue to mobilize workers to vote for Communist Party candidates. The ANC will do the same. And that is what it's going to happen. And maybe that will increase our numbers and we will win Johannesburg together with the party. And so, who knows? And then 10 days declaration. You don't understand. We have given members 10 days. Obviously, you get the letter, you reflect, you decide, you respond. Where will you be? And then it's as simple as that. Are we going to treat the SACP as the enemy? I've explained. It's not possible to treat the Communist Party as the enemy because of the decisions that they have taken. We're dealing with the practicality of the decision in as far as how we are going to conduct our business on the ground, such that there will be no complaint that we are not invited to elections meetings of the ANC since we took a decision. So from this, there is no expectation that members of the Communist Party will be expected to participate in ANC structures of the election. And it will be expected that those who have made a choice to campaign for the party will do so orderly and in a disciplined fashion. And therefore, they should not be tormented for the decisions that they've actually taken. That is now being organized and orderly in terms of running the affairs of the organization in the light of the decision. Network, the only difference is that you are Afrikaans and the other one is English. News, but you are one thing, News 24. Network. Reputational crisis, a risk for the ANC. Out of this decision, any decision has got risks and reputational risks, and we have laid that bare. We have used the word fragmentation, and then we have used words like confusion. Indeed, the decision will not be smooth sailing. We have already had a practical example of how this works. We have been in Tanun, we're in Limpopo. We've been with the SACP on the ground, campaigning in different wards, and we have emerged victorious. The only place where the SACP registered bigger numbers was in Bizana. In Bizana, in the Eastern Cape. In Tanon, they got 215. We got 2,000. And all of that. But that 200 would have been ANC vote in a highly contested election. So there are risks like those that the smaller numbers that go in a different direction will have come our way and increased the numbers for the African National Congress. So if we deplete numbers in the base that we regard as where we are harvesting, all of us, then that will weaken us. But we can't persuade the Communist Party out of that decision. We've got to deal with its practicality. What we have seen in the by-election is that members of the Communist Party campaigned this direction, ANC members this direction, and then other opponents in the same ward. We have seen that in the by-elections. So what the communique is clarifying is that, comrades, stay on your lane. Leave others to do what they want to do. Don't follow the Communist Party. We did not do that, even in the campaign. Communist Party was attacking us and our candidates. Now, you are a Communist Party member, you are an ANC member. By day, you are ANC. Or in the campaign, you are seen to be attacking our candidates. The communique is very clear, is that you must define yourself to be on the other side for the party. But in our discussion with the party, we said those things must not be encouraged. As we briefed our members in the past week, and we also emphasized on this point, and we know from our side the center holds. Members of the ANC will not interfere with the Communist Party campaign. We can guarantee you that they will not. We have not interfered with the campaign of West people on the ground. We have not. Where our members have acted in a wayward manner, we have intervened, because all parties are allowed to campaign. So that's what we want. Alliance of SACP, MK, and EFF, it's possible. They talk about it from time to time. They warm to each other. It is possible that the Communist Party in this left conference sees these parties as part of the left that they need to work with. So they've not briefed us about it. We are not in alliance with the DA or any parties in the government of national unity. They serve there in their own right. And that is why you must understand that government of national unity is not a melting pot of political parties. Parties maintain their identity. All of them have been invited to come and participate in the GNU. Others made the choice not to come. And it's only three parties that made a choice not to come. The rest are part of the GNU. They are not our allies. They remain our opponents. The same as others who will be participating. Let me give you an example. EFF is part of the GPU, now with one MEC. Have they changed their stance towards the ANC? First day before they even occupy office, they said we are thieves. The man who's going to be MEC, he was insulting us going to the office. I'm going to show these thieves how things are done. Yes. Has that changed the EFF? No. It's their stance. So the rhetorical question that has been, peddled in a sense that we must work with the progressives. Maybe we will be in favor of that. Post the election, if people call themselves progressive, Communist Party, we will work with them beyond the election. We don't know if they win the election, what will they do with the power? They will say, we don't want you, and so on. But that is the worst thing you can think about. But even going into an election, the Communist Party is not the enemy of the ANC. It's contesting. It has decided that now is the time to contest. Let me give you a brief history to this. In the 2000s, the Communist Party toyed around with an idea to contest elections. They've been postponing it. It happened down the line in Metsimaholo. It did not produce the great results. It is now firmed up during the era of Mapaila to become a resolution. Of course, it's a shock to us because we are still looking at recouping, the lost ground and fighting to come back. Here we are hit by a resolution. Maybe if it happened that time, it would have gone through the nerves. Now we'll be used to it. Just like all things that we did not expect in this struggle we are in have happened. First, ANC members, very senior, left us and formed political parties. People who formed COPE were not minnows. They were respectable leaders of the ANC who were not tainted in any corruption, and they had history in the struggle. They formed COPE. I'm not even talking PAC in the 60s, when, among others, they formed, because the PAC was formed, among others, for reasons like ANC is infiltrated by communists. Okay? And then we expelled a group of 8 in the ANC. Those who saw themselves as pure communists, the Makiwani brothers, they were expelled in the ANC. Now, we come with a big shock in a democratic dispensation that you are contesting on your own. You've been towing about this idea since 1993, and that the option to contest has always been there if the ANC is veering away and all of that. Oh, okay, it has been in the pocket. We'll have to go then and dust off and look at old documents. All what we know in our strategic perspectives between us and the SACP, it is path to power, 1969. The path to South African revolution is the intervention by Joe Slovo on the National Democratic Revolution in South Africa, and the strategic perspective that led us to a negotiated political settlement. Pamphlets that have been circulating and all of that can be viewed as pamphlets. There's also an ANC pamphlet, Unmandated Reflections, that has been circulating that one day we will go apart as the alliance, and what will lead to that must be prevented. That document analyzes the risks, Unmandated Reflections. I can't pull that pamphlet written by Tawia Khakhamla, I don't know, you know him, and then say today that no, we did predict this will happen. ANC have not said that. We are bound together, strategy and tactics, and also all these documents I've actually mentioned, and we can go to town. Our pamphlet that we produced, which we call it a perspective, that contributed to this debate about the party standing on its own, We have circulated it in our structures and so on. So we shared it with as many people as possible. We are not using harsh words. I've never used the word ultimatum or deadline. I've said to you, don't put words in my mouth. I've not said we're putting an ultimatum. I said we're giving 10 days from now for people to pronounce themselves. We can say a year. We don't have luxury. We're in a campaign. How do you give people a year to decide where they will be campaigning? We are in the election campaign. Last week you were asking me when do we start the campaign, because Zile is swimming everywhere here and all of that. So you want us to give people 50 days to decide. We are in a campaign. You must tell us next week that you are in or out. But you are not out of us. You are still our comrade. But this time around, my name is Nokolo. I will be changing. I will be working for SACP. You know, and that's what the resolution says. Don't trivialize it. Make it something difficult and all of that. You can stay as an MEC. You can stay as an MMC. You can stay as a councillor, and that's it. But you are not going to have it both. I can imagine you are an SACP secretary of the province. You are an MEC. Yeah, ANC says decide. As a regional secretary, you have to go with the party and say, hey, comrades, I'll see you second round. I'm leaving now. I'm going to campaign for the party. And I will not be in a position to be in the ANC campaign trail. It's a practical decision. It's not dismissal. Don't trivialize it that communists are being asked to declare their credentials. No, there's no such. There's no such. The ANC did not take a decision to contest for elections. When you take a decision to contest for an election, you must also analyze what are the risks. We said in our document, you are going to make our members to choose practically in the campaign. But we cannot stop you from this decision. They went and they took the decision. It is taken. Look, there's nothing that is going to make the party change that decision. Our decision is not cast in stone. It's not. It's just the practicality of saying, when you are confronted with a situation like this, who guides you? Two things in the ANC, the strategy and tactics and the constitution. The strategy and tactics says you cannot kill the alliance and destroy dual membership. But the constitution gives you a choice. Those are the two documents we rely on. When we go to those documents and invoke them to guide us, no, ANC, this liberal faction in the ANC have decided, okay, let's leave the constitution and everything else. Because the Communist Party can still come back tomorrow. We will meet in a bilateral and say, now that we have taken this decision, we have this decision, how are we going to have an electoral pact or an electoral approach? Now we deal with, already we have dealt with the practicalities, discipline, no infringement of each other, no participation in each other's thing. We will talk after the elections, or else campaign approach will mean ANC, you are weak here, we are strong here. That's what campaign approach among allies is about, not this one that is inimical. The Communist Party have got all the right to attack capitalism, including shouting and taking hammer and everything. We don't have that obligation. ANC is not the party that strive for capitalism nor socialism. It's not. And that is why members made a choice in the context of the alliance to join the vanguard of the working class, which is the Communist Party. And that vanguard is striving to destroy capitalism. And it can influence the ANC one way or the other, as it has actually happened. And that is why a working class vanguard, in collaboration with the nationalist organization, democratic organization like the ANC in alliance has never been seen anywhere. Communists have disappeared in the old Soviet Union, even now, in Europe, and even in the advanced democracies. It's only here in South Africa where they are alive through the alliance with the African National Congress. So you leave the ANC to be the purest organization, and therefore to go with all the people, classes, and strata that you say you seek to galvanize through the project of the NDR. Then when you withdraw, it is a reductionist in itself. So you've got to deal with that as the party. And they've said to us, no, we are not doing that. We're just contesting. We will come back. We are just contesting. So that is granted. Now that the party is contesting, we are giving direction. And we are not saying to our members they must go wake up and attack the Communist Party and go to rallies and attack Comrade Soli, call him by name, and attack the party, what they said. No, we don't expect that. Let the party pursue its agenda and its decision, and we'll focus on what needs to be done. UFM, and no, it doesn't spell the end of the relations with the reconfiguration. Let me explain. When we arrived in office, we have explained this to the party. They said there is a decision of the ANC to reconfigure the alliance. We say, but that reconfiguration was not processed by the NEC. The NEC that is led by Magashule as the SG. We don't have that decision. But nonetheless, as this National Executive Committee, we've got a mandate from conference to finalize reconfiguration. We are happy to do that. If you say that document has been adopted, bring it to the fore, we look at it, and then we formalize it going forward. In our statements, in our engagement with them, we have explained that we are ready for reconfiguration. And the National Executive Committee, NGC, everybody agrees with this. Now, we are dealing with reconfiguration. On the other hand, there is elections. Now, these things are hitting us in the same direction, but we are committed to reconfiguration of the alliance. Kasi FM, the divorce was well explained. The divorce, we are not divorcing the Communist Party, and this is not a letter of rejection. I'm not exposed to divorce. I was exposed to rejection through a letter. When I grew up, we used to propose with letters. Letter, forget me not, and so on, and a big card, you know. So this one, I've been married once. I'm not exposed, but from my understanding, thanks for the question, we are not divorcing. We are not even in separation. We are just exploring what could happen between us to reinforce. It's only that it is explained as though it's a divorce and it's a separation. You see, but at the end of the day is that somebody have said in the relationship, I've now decided to be independent and exercise my right to love myself and not just look at you. You know self-love? Yeah. This thing that every time it's only me who think about your birthday. And then when you don't think about mine. Let me love myself and then see whether you will remember me. You see, that's what the party is saying. It's saying that, no, the ANC is moving ahead and all of that. It doesn't do the following things. It doesn't call meetings. So we are taking self-love as something we want to exercise in this relationship. We're exploring. We'll see. So if self-love works to the point where in which you forget us, you will not come back. You will then come back and say, we are separating. And then from separation, it will be a divorce. And then I don't know when we will call the bishops and the priests to come and pray for us in this alliance, because everything has been done to try and stop this. We ask veterans to engage on this matter. It doesn't work. Some of them got insulted when they started to raise ideological issues. And that is it. So we are not in a divorce with the party. We are fine. Newsroom, there will be breakdown of relations with us and the SACP. No, we don't envisage that. Breakdown, I suppose you mean not talking to each other. It's not possible. We will talk to each other where things, we have to still come back. We have briefed the Communist Party that we are going to brief structures. This past weekend we have done that. We have engaged them. We have told them about our decision. Today, the 23rd, we have dispatched communication.
It's not the 23rd.
What is the date?
It is the 23rd.
What is the date? I've never seen so many people in a room who don't remember. There's a problem here. Amnesia. It's the 23rd.
Yeah.
Today, the 23rd, is on Thursday. We have dispatched the communique and the letter to all ANC members. And I'm sure you will get this letter in the WhatsApp groups. But we've written to the Communist Party, the communique, Sanko, and COSATU. And then we have written to all members. And then the letter will go to all ANC members and will be administered, the letter, by the branch secretary, BET coordinator, BTT coordinator, and then stroke BTT coordinator where there is no BC, and then REC stroke RTT secretary, provincial secretary, and they will all report to the SGO. Within 10 days, they will report. In my region, so many comrades of the party have written the following letters, and then we will write a letter to grant them the permission. But if you don't write, you just decide to be quiet, I don't want to say defiant, and then we see you in the campaign insulting ANC, working against us on the ticket of the party, that then will bring friction. Because the request is simple. Just say, make up your mind, where will you be? Because we have never been in this situation before. Now, we are lifting the clause in our constitution to say that all members shall abide and will campaign for the ANC. And that does not mean we are attacking the party. That must be understood correctly. Daily Maverick, you all have written our obituary, that Asibui in this election. So we are fighting very hard to come back. So we are fighting for an overwhelming majority so that we don't have coalitions and all of that and so on. So everything we're going to do in this campaign is to ensure that we come back. In your podcasts and everything else, you have already decided to go to know these ones, even with this long press conference addressing what we should not be addressing of the SACP. These are signals that the ANC is fading away. It is not. The by-elections from time to time, difficult conditions have demonstrated that. We are finalizing our processes in KZN. On Saturday, we will be in KZN to finalize and appoint the PTT. And then on Monday, we will finalize, on holiday, we'll finalize all RTTs. In KZN, we have appointed the top 5, top 6 in KZN. So we are going for a wall-to-wall campaign throughout the country. And that preparation has actually begun. We have addressed the Communist Party issue, and we are done with it. We are not going to be entertaining this point every weekend. Today is the last, the beginning and the last. And I summarize it. We have an NEC bulletin. We have briefed the structures. We have briefed the Communist Party. The Communist Party have taken its decision. The alliance is still alive. We will convene the secretariat. The APC will meet. We are moving forward. We are not going to be rounding around one and the same thing when a decision has been taken. We have now come to the party fully, guiding our structures on the ground. Tomorrow I will be briefing all our structures under one roof on the way forward, secretaries as the people who are going to administer and implement this decision. We are organizing ourselves in terms of the new demarcations in the country, grouping people according to the demarcations of the IEC. We are focused on that. We are finalizing conferences that need to be finalized. Those that are not finalized, we'll see them next year. So we are fully on track. We are starting a process of interviewing mayors. Our memo on the interview of mayors will go out by tomorrow. Deadlines, regions, everybody must come to the party. Shortlisting May, which is in a week's time, will be interviewing mayors here at Luthuli House. By June, we will be done with that process. By July, we should be done with the selection of candidates for local government. In Madibeng, I want to inform you that we have taken a decision, informed by the province, to recall our mayor in Madibeng. That decision has been effected. I know I've got the lawyer's papers. It has been effected. In the ANC, when you are recalled, you are not told the reasons, because your deployment is political. You didn't bring your lawyers when you came here. And we feel that we've got the right to recall you. The Constitution allows us. And when we recall you, we don't explain yourself. When we drop you as a minister, you don't bring lawyers who say that, were you informed? It is the prerogative of the president to hire and fire. It is the ANC to deploy and recall. So we have recalled our mayor in Madibeng, full stop. And we're not going to explain the reasons for that. Very soon, after we brief the officials in the next coming weeks, we will appoint a new mayor in Madibeng. And other areas that might be affected throughout the country, we have reported to you that we are acting decisively, where we are faced with challenges, including recalling people and replacing them, but we are in the election campaign. So there will be moratorium also on this recalling thing. We will only recall the unavoidable, that this we must recall. And I've explained to you that some of the mayors we intervene, we will want to deploy them, but we did not specify where. That is going to happen. So our structures, single-minded, marshaled, we are focused on the task. The Communist Party issue, in our view, as the ANC. Today, we promise you, we will come back to you and brief you on the outcome of the special NEC. You have had your own spokespersons who are overzealous, who leak our discussion. The ANC today is speaking for itself. So Mahlengi will answer you on the basis of a statement and the communique, not on the basis of leakers, people who leak information. Today, we have told you our position. Even the GS of the party convened a press conference on the basis of speaker's notes, not on the basis of the communique. And in that briefing, he was not courteous to say to you, we met with the ANC, they told us this. He reduced us to speaker's notes, that we just circulated notes. We never met with them. He never told you. The first people we briefed after our meeting was the party, followed by the COSATU, followed by SAMCO, was the last. On Saturday and Sunday, we were briefing our regions. 54 regions in the country met, and we briefed them on the decision. Today, for the first time, we're talking about this in public. And that's what we have done. So we are running our things orderly. There's no enemy here. And there are no surprises. And should anything arise, we'll resolve it at the secretariat level of the alliance. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Colleagues, we are adjourned. I think it's been quite a time, but it was important to clarify our position. We're supposed to have the second round, but